Welcome into the Sports Buffoons podcast. Let's get it going, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls out there of the world. It is the Sports Buffoons here once again. Mike Settle running it. We got Tanner Dawson and Jason JG. What's up, boys?
What's up, everybody?
Whoa. What up, boys?
Now, is it okay to be a little late because we are buffoons? So we're a little late out there watching on YouTube, so we apologize for the patience there. So
That's correct.
But otherwise, I mean, we are looking forward to a heck of a show today. We got a lot of Chiefs talk to get going. We got some fantasy, but also if you saw the title there, of course, and our thumbnail, we're talking about our predictions as of right now for the Super Bowl and who's going to be the final four teams left running. And I'm excited to talk about that because I think we're going to have some differing opinions, as a matter of fact, as well. So, guys, otherwise, though, what are you sipping on?
I got me a little Jack Daniels. You know, my neighbor for my birthday this past weekend got me a little Jack. So, you know, you can't go wrong with that.
There you go.
I got me a little bit of Jim Beam.
Jim Beam. That's it. Oh, well, we're doing the Jim Beam Double Oak.
The Double Oak.
So,
Hey, that's never a bad thing.
Sometimes we're cheap asses, but, not all the time. Sometimes we go Double Oak, which is like an extra $2, right? So
Yeah, and we might go big at the end of the month, either for New Year's or Christmas week, so for one of our shows.
True that. We'll have a Christmas show here in 2 weeks, of course. So
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that, absolutely. So, guys, want to kick it off here with some Chiefs talk?
Chiefs talk? I think it's time, guys.
So here's the thing. Can this be fixed? This is a situation. Obviously, right now, we're looking at a Chiefs team that has the best defense over the course of the past month. And that is amazing to be seen. We're very excited about it. We're actually right there, even ahead of the Patriots right now, which is quite amazing. But here's the problem. Most off right now. Chiefs actually ranked 13th in the NFL in points per game scored, which for the sake of the Chiefs, that is not very good. For the sake of the Chiefs, we're not used to that kind of thing. We're not used to our defense outplaying our offense, and that has been the case lately with this team. Now, look, are we happy with a 5-game win streak? Of course. I mean, we just got a good victory over Denver. Felt like an easy game, in my opinion, and it felt like a game where the Chiefs had a lot of missed opportunities as well, though, because Chiefs ended up with that game. I think 6 drops in the end on that game, somewhere around there.
6 statistically, but
Right.
You can maybe add in 2 or 3 that maybe didn't get marked.
Of course. So, and obviously there's issues within this offense right now, whether there's play calling issues or schematically or just guys not understanding how to run proper routes. We saw Byron Pringle this past week running across the formation at one point, a shallow cross. He stopped his route in a man-to-man situation instead of continuing to run, which Patrick Mahomes assumed was going to be the case. That could have been a 15-yard play. It's the little things that are now hurting the Chiefs' offense right now within this team. So that is the most bothersome part of this. Before I give it in some more information, guys, do you have a quick take about what's going on with the Chiefs offense, and what are your thoughts about how to get this thing turned back around?
Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, for me, it's just about the big names, right? So it's all about Tyrique and Kelsey. So I look at that last game. Tyrique had 2 receptions for 22 yards. Kelsey had 3 receptions for 27 yards. That's not their identity. Okay, so I'm looking for these guys to be a little bit more consistent. Obviously, the first step in that, and I feel like we've been harping on these guys all year long, catch the freaking ball. Stop causing Mahomes, that's right, causing Mahomes to throw interceptions.
Preach!
Mahomes does not get credit for all his interceptions, and it just makes me sick to my stomach because, obviously all of us are big Mahomes fans, and we want to see him succeed. But we also want to see the Chiefs succeed, and that starts with Tyrique and Kelsey. And also, you got to clean up the penalties, particularly those holding penalties, and just stop shooting yourself in the foot. So for me, both Tyrique and Travis Kelsey, they both exploded in Week 10 against the Raiders. So obviously, they have to do it again. The offense, we can't afford to lay an egg against the Las Vegas Raiders. And that's even if we win the game. I'm telling you right now, if the Chiefs win the game, but the offense plays like shit, that's not good, guys. I have tremendous concerns if something like that happens. I mean, there's only 4 games left after this game. And so we've got a very limited time to get it right before the playoffs. I don't want to go into the playoffs with the offense still playing like shit. So this is the time to get it right and show some consistency.
And Tanner, before you get going here, I just want to point out the Chiefs actually end 17.4% of their drives this season with a turnover. So that means basically 1 out of every 6 drives ends in a turnover for this Chiefs team. And it's nuts. We're actually just behind the Jets for the worst in the entire league on turnovers per drive. And that's the most frustrating part of this whole offense. This is not a team in an offense that's typically done these kind of things. So how do we get this thing turned around, Tanner?
You catch the damn ball, just like Jason
Is
said.
it that simple? I mean, is there more to it? Is there play calling we could fix too?
No, actually, I like the play calling. I think the receivers are getting open. I really do. I like the running game we're going. Last week, we saw a lot more Clyde and Darryl really being used in the passing game, which we haven't seen in the past, which was kind of nice to see. But we had drive breakers throughout the game where we dropped a ball. Byron Pringle, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelsey, right? Those are kind of 3-man guy. Mecole, we can go Mecole, whatever. I'm kind of over that guy. But it's
– Chiefs are too, obviously.
Yeah. But it's really frustrating from when you're driving down, you're, almost 10 plays in, and then you have a dropped pass for a 20-yard gain possibly. Then you have another dropped pass, later on where you give it away to the other team. And it's a few weeks ago when we were, in the struggle bus before we started our win streak, we talked about what was wrong with the Chiefs offense, and we blamed Mahomes, right? Jason and I were all at Mahomes. Guess what? Mahomes can only do so much. He's putting it in the people's hands. So why can't Travis Kelsey, Tyreek Hill, and Byron Pringle catch the freaking ball? If you look at the drops, here's what amazes me, right? If you look at the drops of the season, Travis Kelsey leads the team with 10 drops. Tyreek Hill leads second with 7. The next person down is Byron Pringle with 4.
Okay, Hardman shortly after that, too.
Or Hardman at 2. Hardman only has 2 drops, according to this.
Lack of playing time, I guess.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Lack of targets, lack of playing time. So 60 targets, right, for Hardman, but Pringle has 36 targets. That's it, and he has 4 drops. And then you got 127 for Hill, 105 for Kelsey. These are our top 2 receivers. These guys got to be spot on, better than what they're doing. And of course, Tyreek Hill, as we all know, has caused for 3 or 4 interceptions, literally off his hands. We catch the ball, we get rid of these drive breakers, or drive killers, right? We get rid of these drive killers, aka dropped third down or second down passes. That could be first downs, holding on the offensive line, just stupid mistakes. This offense is probably back to an elite status, but we have drive killers, and we can't. Unlike past years, 3rd and 20 is actually a 3rd and 20 because we're now not confident with ourselves of making it down the field for that 20 yards.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, Tanner. I think that one thing we need to think about, too, is the way teams are playing now against the Chiefs' offense is different than in years past.
2 safety high, right? You
We're
get that a lot
we're
more.
seeing more 2 safety high over the course of the season, and that makes an impact on the way the Chiefs' style has to work because this now has to be more efficient than ever. Because beforehand, you could win on a big play where you have a 3-play drive and a 90-yard touchdown, whatever, something like that. Where now, literally, they're forcing the Chiefs to have to matriculate the ball down the field, boys, and having to do it over the course of time. The Chiefs actually lead the entire NFL in plays per drive with 7. The next closest team is 6.5 average plays per drive. So literally the Chiefs are having to work their way slowly, methodically down the field throughout a mixture of runs and passes to get into the end zone. But part of that problem is once they get closer to the end zone, Chiefs lead or 4th in yardage right now in offense. 4th in the entire NFL. That sounds great, right? If you have the 4th best offense yardage-wise, but the 13th best scoring. And that's because of the turnovers. That is true because of the turnovers. The Chiefs need to clean up the little things, and just the little things like the Pringle situation that I just described a few minutes ago, of just stopping a route short instead of following through. Mahomes misses that pass. And then in situations where it is 3rd and long, those used to be plays where we still trust Pat to make a play and make a completion that would get 15, 20 yards. Now that's not happening as much because teams are playing the Chiefs a little more conservatively as they did in the past.
And they're early in the season, it felt like they were really spying on Tyreek Hill. Lately, I don't know if it's Bieniemy, Reed, or what happened, but Tyreek Hill, guys, leads our team with 86 receptions still, but it's making the cross routes happen that frees them up. Like the safeties lose track of him. The linebackers obviously can't keep up with him. But I really don't think it's the play calling because of the fact that Tyreek Hill is open a lot more than I feel like he should be, especially from early on in the season. The guy is there making plays.
Well, he's open on underneath routes, of course. I mean, underneath routes. I want to see more slants, continue the shallow crosses, stuff like that. Things being more involved in the offense.
Which is good because he can make a 2-yard gain into a 5-6.
We have seen more screen passes this past week, so that's also something of note that is important.
So this team right now, it kind of reflects back to an offense similar to Peyton Manning's final year when he won the Super Bowl. There was no arm left. Not that saying Patrick Mahomes' arm's gone, by any means, but it's a different kind of offense. Like, all right, you got to do your job, right? You got to push it down the field. Well, here's Peyton Manning in that Super Bowl, small passes here and there, pushing it down the field. Mm-hmm. But again, all you need is a drive killer. Yeah, give me a hold. Give me a 15-yard hold on second down.
I mean,
penalties, drops, and fumbles. I mean, that comes down to the Chiefs.
Interceptions, turnovers.
Yeah, and for me, when I look at the big picture here, it's like the league has adjusted to Patrick Mahomes. They're forcing the Chiefs to run, take the underneath stuff, and I think that if we accept that, if we can just accept that and take what the defense gives us throughout the regular season, then once you get to the playoffs, anything is possible. I mean, Andy Reid, as far as your play calling concerns, I mean, he's keeping a lot of things close to the vest right now. But when we get to the playoffs, dude, it's a free for all.
It's going to be a free for all. And I don't necessarily say they might have figured him out for now, but I guarantee you right now, Patrick Mahomes, and you saw that energy, the frustration he let off on Bieniemy at the end of the game.
Yeah.
After that drive, right? He's frustrated. He's like, why can't I get it down 15 yards like I used to?
Well, what Pat was saying to him was, you need to call the effing play, otherwise I'll call the play.
Correct.
That's what Pat was saying.
And he's tired of it.
And Pat's frustrated because this offense isn't matriculating and working the way they used to work, but there's a reason for that, obviously.
Yeah, and
it's not just Pat.
I like the idea of playing this conservative game and holding back just a little bit for the regular season.
We saw Marty ball a little bit this last weekend.
We did.
Yeah, I mean, because when the playoffs roll around, dude, that's the time when you want to unleash because you're going to suck, you're going to suck these teams into thinking, the Chiefs are going to be a little bit more conservative. And then the playoffs roll around, then the real Pat Mahomes shows up and he's going to say, fuck it, I'm going to launch this shit.
I will say this will be a season we'll look back on here at the end of this whole thing. You might look at this and say, this actually was the best thing Mahomes ever had for his career. This whole season is going to make him a better quarterback long-term, I think, in this league because he's having to go through a situation where, everyone's aware of him. Everyone knows what he's capable of. Everyone knows what he likes to do, what his tendencies are. And the entire league did adjust. They saw the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, and they completely adjusted what the Buccaneers were doing. And everyone's doing that. But this is making Pat have to reevaluate himself, too. So I think for his sake, for long-term in this league, it's going to be amazing because we're going to see him now go through this situation, but then he'll come back one day to be able to be capable of doing the things he'd done a couple of years ago as well. So
and
be a well-rounded quarterback.
And still defeat this adversity he's facing and still be able to take this team possibly to a 1 seed into the playoffs. Yeah. Very, very possible going through here. And it's quite amazing for him. But you can also see we're seeing a lot more frustration on the sidelines than we have in the last 2 years of being a starter, right? Especially Bieniemy. And I don't know if that's it could just be an internal thing or frustration thing, whatever it is. But yeah, I think we're going to look back here and say, all right, he faced this is how he handled it. And this is what the result was.
I think with Mahomes, I've been thinking this the whole year. It's just a matter of time.
A matter of time.
Does anybody really think
that
Mahomes is going to have a down year for an entire season? Especially with the way the defense is playing right now.
7 of his interceptions have been tipped.
So his down year is 12 interceptions and so many touchdowns, and then MVP consideration as well right now too. And it's possibly taking this team from worst to first.
It's just a matter of time, and he's going to explode.
It's just a matter of time.
It should be this week, in all honesty.
Yeah, speaking of this week, you guys, before we jump over to our full-on NFL topic, let's talk about some Chiefs-Raiders coming up. I'll be at the game, of course. I'm looking forward to bringing the girl out with me, so it'll be her first legitimate game. I guess she went once when she was basically a small child, but she slept through the whole thing.
That's a perfect
So,
game to go.
she'll-
55 degrees. I think it'll be sunny.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great game.
We're going to try to get the grill out and start, grilling around 8:30 or so in the parking lot, make
Right
something
on.
up, and just have a great time.
I
So
like it.
we have a noon game, of course. Like you said, 50s is what we're looking at, so it'll be good weather, which, Derek Carr's going to like that because Derek Carr is a little baby
He
sometimes.
hates the cold.
He hates the cold weather. He's a little pussy willow.
Is he is he by chance a beta male provider man?
He's just the Chiefs beta cuck. I'll put it that
Okay.
way. So
I'll take that.
he's the Chiefs beta cuck. So that is what Derek Carr is at this point in his career. It is a sad story of Derek Carr versus the Chiefs. If you guys have not followed along kept up with the history of that, then boy, it is a goozy. So guys, what is your game plan against the Raiders? Obviously, it's a team that just had a big L this past weekend, but I think the Raiders still going to present the challenge to the Chiefs because they did it last year. Of course, they played us tough last year at home, as a matter of fact. So we're back at home against the Raiders once again this time. Had a pretty easy win against the Raiders a few weeks ago, and I don't think they're going to make it that easy this time. I think it'll be a closer game.
I think it will be.
But I think that at the end of the day, the Raiders are a simple team. You have a better coach with Andy Reid, obviously. They fired the coach they had, John Gruden, and now their whole season's down in the shitter. And so, not to say that they shouldn't have, but they had to do what they had to do, I guess. But my whole thing is literally get pressure on Derek Carr and attack and force turnovers early, and the game's over. At that point, the Chiefs run this game, and the Chiefs have full control of the game. And I'm not concerned whatsoever about it. The Raiders also rank 26th in the NFL against the run. And so this could be a game with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Darrell Williams doing their job and the dirty work. And I still think that we can expect maybe a little bit of Mahomes making some plays too. So for me, defense, number one defense in the entire league right now, the Chiefs playing the last 6-7 weeks against the Raiders, and the pressure rate we bring when we blitz the passer, we are one of the top 3 teams in the entire NFL.
Yeah, but can we say even more that we're bringing 4 and still getting a lot of pressure?
Absolutely,
on these guys?
and that's something we weren't doing.
That's phenomenal.
So I guess one of my questions I meant to ask a little bit ago was, guys, what is making this Chiefs defense so phenomenal? What is the biggest change you think that has gone on to make this team go from literally worst in the NFL to the very best in the NFL defensively?
I got to give Spagnuolo credit for the whole thing. And, I understand players make plays, but they also need a leader who's been there and done that. And so I always look at Spagnuolo's history, kind of shit defenses early in the season, and then they figure out a way to turn it around.
That's true.
Potentially win Super Bowls. Having said that, Sorensen, good job, buddy. You were in the right place at the right time.
I think it's 2 games in a row right
Every
now,
once in a while
right?
we'll do
2
that.
games in a row.
Gotta give him credit,
But unfortunately for me, you still suck. So please don't reward Sorensen by giving him more snaps.
Correct.
That guy is
Thank you.
completely worthless, but it was a great play for him. The rest of the defense, I look at the Melvin Ingram addition. I think that's been a big bonus for us. Also, early in the year, we didn't have Willie Gay, and I think it's just about the chemistry here. And so guys are starting to learn the defense. They're getting more comfortable, and they're just starting to play better. But ultimately, I give, most of the credit to Steve Spagnuolo because, like I said, players play, but they got to have a leader, somebody in charge that knows what the hell he's doing.
I like that. My big thing, I think, is just the guys getting healthy. Chris Jones getting healthy again early in the season, right? He sat out a couple of games. Frank Clark was kind of in and out the entire time. He finally is healthy, and we know what Frank Clark healthy means to the defensive line. Tershawn Wharton picking it up. Harris picking it up when he has to fill in.
And Jerron Reed's playing better.
And Jerron Reed's around. Who knew we had him the last first 5 games? My big thing as well is the linebacking core. I love the linebacking core. I think that Nick Bolton, Derrick Henry game, as bad as the Titans game was, I think that was a big uplift for that linebacking core of knowing, hey, we got this young guy come in and he just stuffed the king.
I think Bolton had 4. I think he had 4 TFLs in that game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure on Derrick Henry, and he took him out on himself multiple times. So big props to Nick Bolton, Willie Gay getting healthy, coming into play. But guys, it's the secondary. The secondary has been lights out since then. Tre'Davious Ward has showed up once again to show why he deserves to be our number 1 cornerback. Rashad Fenton, even though he's been out a couple games, has been phenomenal. What was he, the number 1 corner or number?
Fenton?
2. Yeah, what was the stat?
Oh,
The
Pro Football Focus had him ranked number one
Number
for
one.
a few weeks. I think he moved down to number 2.
I think
but,
he moved 2, yeah.
I mean, overall,
Because Jalen Ramsey.
here's the thing: these corners aren't necessarily making plays as far as like interceptions and turnovers, but they're just locked down. These guys are playing lockdown. And then you got the X factor, in my opinion, of L'Jarius Sneed, who can be used all over the field as whether outside, inside, it doesn't matter.
What do they call him?
He never once played inside in college, ever. He's always an outside corner.
I'm impressed.
Goes to the Chiefs, plays the nickel right away, and gets a bunch of sacks in the playoffs and so on. And the guy is just a playmaker.
What do they call him? A linebacker, secondary linebacker, or something like that? Like
he's a combo safety linebacker corner. I don't know what to say. He's just an X factor.
And then you also have Mike Hughes, who steps up. At times he was kind of rough at first, but he's kind of stepped up. But he's also stepping up in the special teams game, who took over Hardman's spot in the returns, which isn't a good look for Hardman. But I'm really impressed by just secondary overall. We haven't seen Baker really at all, which is kind of unfortunate. I was really hoping to see more of him. But yeah, I think in the secondary holding their ground against some of these receivers we faced has been the turning point going into play.
Yeah.
Right?
No, absolutely. I mean, that has been the biggest impact. I think we always had a good secondary, actually. But it was more about the front seven who were not doing their jobs in the beginning of the season. And like you said, Jason, the Melvin Ingram addition allowed Chris Jones to move inside once again, back to D tackle where he needs to be at. And so that addition alone helped not only the outside edge, but also the interior at the same time. So that was a 2-for-1 kind of a situation where I think the Chiefs went into this season weak in the middle, where Chris Jones makes us strong in the middle once again. And the outside edge rushers between, rotating in a few guys, Okafor is okay at times. But Ingram and then, of course, a motivated, I don't know if I want to say healthy, but just a motivated Frank Clark goes a long ways, because sometimes that dude, I feel like, loafs. But over the past few weeks, he does not loaf.
He's motivated.
He's motivated. He's inspired.
He's only motivated because we talked so much shit about him on this show earlier in the season.
He also deserved it. So, it's just like, Daniel Sorensen says he doesn't read the papers or get on Twitter and social media. He doesn't know anything anyone's saying. Okay, Danny, we'll take you for your word on that one. But, thank you for your wonderful plays that are, once every 100 or so.
Have you guys changed your mind on extending Tyron yet? Now that we're 14 weeks in the season, almost.
An extension, I think we got to be smart with that. I don't want to necessarily give him a long 5-6 year extension, which is what he's going to want. But if he could do a 3-year deal, I would love that.
I would love a 3-year deal. I'm all in on that.
But that'd be definitely a team friendly kind of a thing. I think, for
deal.
the 3-year deal on that one, because the Chiefs got to worry about Orlando Brown too, who's also played a little better lately. So.
Right. So we were talking about the Raiders game, right? Kind of what to expect here. Kenyon Drake is out for the season now, so that takes away some of their backfield. Their backups as well has been in and out of injury, so you're going to see a lot of Josh Jacobs this week.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Josh Jacobs. I'm not worried about it. The way our linebacking core has been, Nick Bolton. I think we're seeing another repeat game of Nick being really into the mix here, because the Raiders are going to have to run the ball a lot more than they did the first game. Darren Waller, I think he only had like 4 points against us in Week 10.
He has to be a fourth. He's not even going to play this week.
He may not even play. Yeah, so he has to. If he plays, they have to get the ball to him a lot more. And you don't have Ruggs anymore. Brian Edwards.
They've got nothing.
You don't Hunter Renfrow.
Hey, Renfro's good.
He is, but
Renfrow does a great job.
He's a quick guy. But I mean, you can only if you have one weapon there and one weapon tight end.
Well, it's going to be a running game, of course. The Raiders
to be a running game.
Here's the thing. They want to control the clock. They want to do the same thing Denver was trying to do. I told you guys going into the week, Denver was number 2 in the NFL in time of possession. Raiders are going to try to do the same thing, control the clock a little bit, keep Josh Jacobs on the field. Josh Jacobs has not had a great year by any means. So I think, the Chiefs and the Chiefs defense have been stuffing guys lately as far as in the run game. It's going to be a game where they need to make plays, they're important on third downs. And the Chiefs have a pretty good third down defense right now.
Yeah.
So,
and the Raiders have been a slow start. The last 2-3 games has been a really slow start to them for the first half. So if we can continue that streak and we hop on a couple points like we did against Denver, it ain't going to be a problem.
Yeah, if there's no Darren Waller in this game, the Raiders are going to have a big problem. And I'm not going to give you my pick. You got to stay tuned for our TikToks to get that prediction. But Raiders might have a big problem in this game.
That's right.
Yeah, TikToks will be after the show. They'll be posted up throughout the weekend, I would say. So Tanner, should we jump into some Super Bowl and predictions and thoughts?
Let's do it.
Look at that. You had all those teams on there, Tanner. That was very cute. I liked your little logos you had going on for our intro to the Super Bowl discussion here, I suppose. So, guys, we're going to probably have a little debate here for a moment, but we're going to talk about our top 4 teams remaining in the NFL, and things are becoming more clear-cut and dry in a lot of different ways. I have one team outside my list that we might disagree on, but going into this, I want to know what your thoughts are going to be about the championship games first, and then we can talk Super Bowl ideas. And I don't want to give away the winners yet. I want to at least give away who we think is going to be there. And so I'm right now looking at – it's amazing. This team leads the entire league in net points. So net points meaning you've had this many more points than you've given up. Patriots are plus 150 in points this year. The Patriots are playing phenomenal. I mean, they went out and just kind of made a mockery of the Bills this past week. And I actually really enjoyed that game, even though they only threw the ball 3 times.
I really
enjoyed that. It reminded me back when I used to be a dick on Madden, and I would just run the ball up someo's ass every play.
I want a 7-game win streak on
I had so many people quit on me when I used to do that because I would just run with Jamal Charles, Thomas Jones, just run up their ass, and they could never stop me.
You mean all those 10-year-olds just quit against you?
All the 10-year-olds.
Oh, my God.
And I was at least 20, so.
What a baller. You must have been a baller back then, huh?
I was probably double. Why do you think I got to be top 1% in Madden online? I mean, I was at one point, but it was all because of that Thomas Jones, Jamal Charles game I had going on. Well, the Patriots did the same thing this past weekend with Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson.
All day, baby.
Oh, it was beautiful, and the blocking was beautiful. Guys, the Patriots are going to be a force, and this is because of the coaching. It's because Bill Belichick is doing something I can't believe he's doing. The guy literally lost Tom Brady 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and he's doing it again because he has the best defense in the league, right there with the Chiefs, of course, 1A, 1B. And then offensively, you guys realize he also has the most efficient offense in the league too?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How is that possible when you have those kind of weapons, that quarterback that's a rookie, and Mike Jones has played great. But how is this happening, guys? I don't know. It's crazy.
You don't have star-studded wide receivers. You have a couple tight ends that
this is maybe the best coaching thing I've ever seen, I think. Just the fact that Belichick had 1 year of preparation to redo it again, and now he's number one in the entire
AFC.
AFC.
Not even 1 year, dude.
Not even AFC once again.
That's my thing with Belichick. Like, when we talk about, in any sport, when we talk about a rebuild, what's the average that you think those rebuilds take? Some of the rebuilds take 20 years.
4.5. I'd say 4.5 years for a rebuild.
What is it? Like Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, they've both been rebuilding for who knows how many years. This guy rebuilt it in 1 frigging year. Like, who the hell does that?
It's quite insane. I don't know with Belichick the way he's been.
And it's sick. It's sick. They played against the Buccaneers earlier this year. The Patriots did. Came down to the last minute of the game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, he came down to the last minute of the game. This Patriots team could have 10 wins right now. And it's just, how is this happening? And some people thought, Tom made Bill and Bill made Tom, etc. And we had little debates about that here and there around the league.
Well, guess what?
No.
Bill's making another one.
Oh, yeah.
He's making Tom 2.0 now.
Also, like, you see Tom's success as well with the Buccaneers and everything.
That's my point.
Like,
they're both.
Like, you saw how monstrous they are now, how they were together. Like, the genius behind it all, the athleticism combined, and you got yourselves, 7 Super Bowls, 6 Super Bowls, whatever it was?
Combined? I don't know.
I mean, you were in the Super Bowl pretty much every freaking year with each other since 2001. And, like, it's just the fact that now you're seeing Bill, who didn't have any worry about it last year. He was like, whatever. We had Cam. He sucks. And then you had Tom, who goes out and wins the Super Bowl. And now Bill's like, all right, I'm back. Let's go. Yeah, that's my division still.
Weren't we all excited because whenever Tom left the Patriots, we were all going, thank God.
Done.
Thank God the Patriots are out of the picture. Now the Chiefs have full front, AFC, full control. Patriots will suck for the next 10 years. Well, we forgot Bill Belichick's one of the top 5 coaches of all time.
Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, Jacoby Myers, somebody
and then
else,
a rotation of running backs.
Rotation of running backs between Harris, Bolden, and Stevenson. And then you got Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, right there in the tight end, and then this line that lost Thuney to us, and they're still 9-4 first.
And all
first
of those receivers that you just mentioned for the Patriots,
are
what does he tell them to do?
third, fourth
block,
stringers.
block. He just wants them to block. They don't have to worry about catching.
Is this not reminiscent at all of the Patriots 2001 season?
No,
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Where
Same
basically you have a bunch of random turds at wide receiver, an elite defense, and a great running game. Tom Brady won a Super Bowl, multiple Super Bowls with that exact same thing.
Like I said, this is Tom Brady 2.0 in the making, except, maybe he only wins 2 or 3 Super Bowls.
Wow.
Like when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
But who cares? Who cares if you win one? That's considered a great accomplishment.
And it's all Belichick has proven himself now. So I think Tom went to the Buccaneers, proved himself, won his own Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I think Belichick maybe took that personally, like Michael Jordan would say. And I took that personally.
Yeah, he did.
And Bill Belichick did, and now look what he's doing. The whole thing is amazing.
I mean, it's just I can't even say anything else. It's just amazing.
All right. I had to bring up the Patriots. You guys, tell me about your top 4 teams in the NFL. So I want to hear your random
All
thoughts
right, so starting with the AFC, so I do have, and this is I'm not going by, we're not talking about the best teams as we see them right now. We're talking about who's going to be there
top
in the end.
4
So
teams.
in the AFC Championship right now, I have the number 1 seed being the New England Patriots, and that's because of Belichick. Like we said, that great offensive line, that good defense, rookie quarterback who's playing not like a rookie quarterback so far. Great running game. I have them as the number 1 seed. I do have them making it to the championship game against what I have right now as the number 2 seed, Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs have a great defense right now. Coaches and players have been there and done that. It's not a big deal to them. I trust Mahomes more than I trust Mac Jones right now. So if that's the matchup that we see in the AFC Championship game, I'm going to go with the Chiefs to win that game. And as far as the NFC, I do have the number 1 seed, as I see it right now, projected Green Bay Packers, and the number 3 seed in that NFC Championship game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When you look at both of those teams, I think both quarterbacks, like I said earlier with Mahomes, those quarterbacks have been there and done that. It's not a big deal. They'll probably be there again. I look at Green Bay. That's probably the best roster that Aaron Rodgers has ever had, especially when you factor in Jair Alexander is going to be coming back very soon. And with Tampa Bay, it's TB12. It's Tom Brady. It's all about experience and that great roster of Tampa Bay. Kyler Murray, he's got a great career ahead of him, but it's just like I said in the AFC side. I trust Brady and Rodgers more right now than I trust Kyler Murray. And so that's why I have those 4 teams making it into their respective championship games.
I like it. So my top 4 for the AFC, I agree. Patriots, Chiefs. I think it'll be 1-2, 2-1, whatever you want to say it as. NFC side, I think it's going to be Packers, Bucks. I think the Packers overtake the Cardinals for the 1 seed by the end of the year, and the Buccaneers stay at the 3. And I think you're going to see Arizona Buccaneers or Green Bay Buccaneers going in, fighting for the Super Bowl.
Well, Tanner, I have a hard time for me counting out the Cardinals because they've only lost. They're 10-2 on the season. They have the best record in the NFL right now.
Correct.
And one of those losses was without Kyler Murray.
Correct. And
so with that said, I'm looking at the rest of the teams in the NFC and the whole league really. And to me, the top 4 teams, I'm looking at the Cardinals, Buccaneers, Patriots, and Chiefs. Those are my top 4. And I'm not trying to count the Packers because, of course, I believe Aaron Rodgers can win any game, any given day, especially with a healthy Devontae Adams and so on. But I feel like the Buccaneers and the Cardinals are the 2 teams to beat in the NFC at this point. And I think that has a lot to do with just the way the Cardinals have been efficient throughout the entire year, regardless of Hopkins or, Kyler Murray. And so they've won without their stars at times, whereas the Packers, without Aaron Rodgers, had a difficult time in a game against the Chiefs, where they should have won if they'd had Aaron Rodgers due to the COVID protocol thing.
But then Aaron Rodgers goes out and beats a Cardinals team without his top 3 receivers.
Yep. I understand. I understand some of the weird complexities of the league. That's one of the beautiful things we've talked about
So awesome.
about with the Chiefs too is that the teams the Chiefs have lost to are the Titans, Ravens, Chargers, and what was the other one? The Titans, Ravens, Chargers, and there was no I forgot.
Are you talking about Chiefs?
Yeah.
Titans, Ravens, Chargers.
Yeah. Bills. And so those are the four teams the Chiefs lost to, and so it's all obviously teams over with a winning record and all that. So what I like about that is that it is difficult to beat the same team twice in 1 year, especially out of conference, I would say. And so going into the playoffs, when the Chiefs do have to face the Titans again or the Ravens again, I feel pretty good about that game going forward.
So here's my reasoning for the Cardinals necessarily dropping from the 1 to the 2 seed, right, by the end of the season, is because they do got the Rams this weekend. They got the Colts week 16. They got the Cowboys week 17. And then Seattle, who, yes, isn't the greatest like they have been, but you can't count those guys out. You can't count Seattle out. Can't count Russell Wilson out because they're going to be playing for everything possibly in week 18. So I think that's going to – two of those games are going to drop it out. I'm not worried about Green Bay because Aaron Rodgers just play whatever. I think Aaron Rodgers takes that, but then Cardinals then becomes more complicated of going into the playoffs.
And here's the thing about the Cardinals for me. Like, I don't care about the seeding. I do have them finishing with the number 2 seed at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But when you get into the playoffs, the seeding doesn't matter. I just look at experience. Like I said, Kyler Murray, I'm never going to question his talent and his potential. We all know he's a big baller.
Correct.
But for this particular season, to me, it's going to line up for Green Bay and Tampa Bay. And I never gave you guys my prediction, but I do believe that Green Bay is going to win that game. And you will see a rematch of Super Bowl I Chiefs versus the Green Bay Packers. The only reason I say that is because, the Bucs, they haven't really shown any signs. I mean, I know they've had some injuries, but they haven't shown any real signs of a Super Bowl hangover. I just find it hard to believe that they're going to make it to that second Super Bowl in a row, let alone win it.
And just remember this year, only the 1 seed gets that bye. And that's what I'm afraid of is they're playing some tough defenses here. Colts, Cowboys, Rams, in the next 3 out of 5 weeks here. Or 4 weeks, whatever. And I'm worried that Murray's going to get more banged up. I'm worried about Hopkins getting more banged up. You're going to get Edmonds back, but what's that going to do to Connor, who leads, who's killing it in the red zone?
And the other thing about the Cardinals too is
it's a banged up team.
The Cardinals started out hot. What's the worst thing you want to do? You want to get hot at the wrong time of the year, which is the beginning of the season. They've been winning the whole time. And I think, I'm not going to give you my prediction, but I think Cardinals this week in particular are going to be in for a big surprise playing against the Rams.
So you talked about them getting hot, right? Titans started off pretty crappy, right? The Vikings, who can't finish a game to save their life. Jaguars, Rams.
Chiefs played like shit.
49ers, Browns, Texans, Green Bay, they lost. 49ers again. Panthers they lost to because Colt McCoy ended up getting banged up as well. The Seahawks they squeaked out by 10. The Bears they squeaked out by 11, and now you get the Rams.
Are you talking about the Cardinals right now?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Cardinals.
Remember, they lead the NFC in point differential.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
but they're also not playing elite teams. At the end of
the day, they lead the NFC in a point differential.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Now they're facing real teams: Rams, Colts, and Cowboys.
And that's fine.
Yeah, well, we'll see what
it's
happens.
It's going to be a struggle. They're going to get banged up.
Mike, you and I have always been proponents of getting hot at the right time, and I just think that just because Arizona started out hot and they kept winning games even when Kyler was down, that doesn't mean that they're going to maintain that trajectory. And I'm not trying to compare this to the stock market or cryptocurrencies or anything. I'm just saying anything can happen. And Kyler had a pretty good game last week, but they're playing the Rams. Rams are pissed off. This is going to be a tough divisional matchup this week.
It sounds like a lot of what ifs, and we're discounting the Cardinals for no reason to me. I mean, Hopkins is getting healthier, obviously, throughout the rest of the season. He's had a lot of time off. He's barely played since week 6 or 7. So
I will give you this.
Put that in perspective.
I will give you this. I am biased in that I always trash Arizona teams.
So we know that. So we're very aware.
I will give you that.
Those out there who are new to the channel, that if you're the first time seeing us and watching us, JG over here, he hates the Suns. He hates the Cardinals.
I hate them all.
Anything based out of Arizona, he just thinks it's trash. So that is to be well known going
All
forward.
right, Mike, what do you got? What's your top 4?
Yeah, my top 4 are Cardinals, Bucks, Patriots, Chiefs. Now, here's the thing. Patriots, Chiefs is going to be a hell of a game when it comes playoff time. I'm excited for that, to see how that unfolds. That is the one team in the AFC at the top end. The Chiefs will not play throughout the regular season because they do have the Bengals, of course, coming up here towards the new year, as a matter of fact. But I do, in my own biased way, I can't imagine Mac Jones, a rookie quarterback, going out there and going to the Super Bowl. I just can't imagine it. I foresee the Chiefs being in the mix in that game. I see them going to the Super Bowl. And honestly, at the end of the day, I see either a Chiefs-Cardinals, Chiefs-Buccaneers game. I could easily see a matchup, but it comes down to the Bucks and Cardinals to win one game. How do I say no to Tom Brady?
How do you not? Yeah, how do you say no?
Like, I see a rematch, but this time the Chiefs' offensive line is completely revamped. It's a completely better offensive line, and they're not all injured either. So, you know what I mean? So I think this could be a rematch, but also going against I think, worse Bucks defense this year than before, but also an improved running game for the Chiefs offense. And so we're going to be basically facing the demon that caused the Chiefs the season that they just had to endure. What I mean is because everyone went and saw the Buccaneers throughout the Super Bowl and what they just did. Everyone copycatted that. The Chiefs now get to go back, make this whole thing right, get it all done, turn it back again, baby. And the Chiefs end up defeating, I believe, in my own biased way, the team that caused this chaos throughout the entire season. Wouldn't that be ironic?
Well, I think it's
like a superhero movie.
It's interesting that you and I both see a rematch. The only difference is I see a rematch of Super Bowl I,
right?
Which, to me, that's a revenge game, right?
Sure, of course. Why
Chiefs
not?
got their ass kicked in that game. So if they play Green Bay, that's the ultimate revenge game, dude. You lost in the very first Super Bowl that was ever played.
I think
that'll be the biggest revenge game of all time.
It'd be beautiful if Lynn Dawson gave a little pep talk, but also, smoked a cigarette in the locker room while he was talking to Mahomes at halftime.
Cigar.
Whatever,
And that's the other thing. Like, you guys all know me. I've always been a pretty big Tom Brady fan. That's the last thing I want to see. I do not want to see the Bucks in the Super Bowl. I don't even care if the Chiefs make it or not. I do not want TB12 in the Super Bowl this year because even as a Tom Brady fan, I am once and for all, I am burned out on Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah.
So I want no part of that. In fact, I want the Chiefs to make it, but if I have to sit there and watch the Bucks again, that's going to be a heartbreaker for me.
I agree. That would be pissed. I'll be pissed off if that's the case. So, one thing that we had to wait for a long time was the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl once again. So, obviously that was very exciting. We had to wait 50 years for that to happen.
And now we've had 2 in a row.
Well, not winning,
but
going,
Super Bowl appearances.
Of course, that's cool. But my point, Tanner, is about how long you're willing to wait to go do something. Like how long you're willing to wait in line for a restaurant, wait in line to go see this or that, or do this or that. Because guys, whenever we had the Whataburger come to town here in Lee Summit, people were waiting down the highway. Like there was cars off the ramp. I heard people were parked everywhere, trying to wait in line for this place for like hours on end. And I've never ate at Whataburger. I don't know what it tastes like. No, I think Jason does. But basically, tell me a little more about that here in a minute. But what are you most willing to wait in line an hour and a half to go eat or do, Tanner? Culver's? Is it Culver's? What is it? Jack in the Box?
Look, I don't like waiting more than like 30 minutes for anything.
Okay. Well, what would you be most willing to wait for? In a line, stand in line with a group of people.
Probably go see a KU game or something. I'd wait 2 hours for that.
To see a KU game.
Yeah, I'd do that.
I thought you guys like tailgate. Do you guys tailgate at KU games?
I don't know.
You just
show up and go.
I guess it's basketball. You just walk right in, right?
Yeah.
Whoa! You're talking about basketball, right?
Yeah, I think it's. I'm assuming basketball here.
Basketball for 2 hours. I would not do football.
Imagine waiting an hour and a half to walk into
unless
KU
it was
KU football stadium.
Unless it was 08 season, then yeah, I'm all in. Like for waiting 2 hours, but I wouldn't. I don't like.
What's the longest you've ever waited in line for food?
For food?
Yeah,
it's probably while on vacation somewhere, but I don't know, probably 45 minutes.
Yeah, my parents, I don't know, we used to go somewhere.
It could have
every
been
once
at
in
a
while.
restaurant. I mean, literally, I hear like 30 minutes, and half the time I'm like,
Yeah.
see it.
No, these days I have no patience for waiting in line for food. Like, if I drive past Chipotle, I'll look at the line through the window as I'm driving by, and I'll be like, no, it's gonna be a no for me, dog. And I keep going, you know.
Is there more than 3 cars? Yeah, I'm out.
And even like I feel bad, like there's like stacks of orders at Chipotle. People like order it online and all that. There's like 20 stacks of boxes of Chipotle orders and all that. And I'm like, hey, that's a smart way to do it, but. You know, then you see people waiting in line for 40 minutes, and I'm like, you know, Chipotle's good and all. I don't mind Chipotle, but it's probably not worth
I'm like one of the most
that
patient
whole thing.
people you'll ever meet, but I just can't stand
So
waiting in line.
You're saying you would not wait in line for an hour and a half at Whataburger?
Oh, hell no.
Well, Jason, what do you like? What do you like about Whataburger?
All right. Well, we're going to settle that argument right now because, first of all, Whataburger sucks, right? I've had it a couple times in Houston. So
I'm pretty sure we've heard this before.
It's bottom line. I'll give you my explanation here in a minute, but bottom line is it's shitty food. The burgers taste like shit. Second of all, Whataburger is a Ponzi scheme. Let me tell you why. It's because they throw it out there. Oh, Whataburgers come to Kansas City. Why? Because Patrick Mahomes likes it. Okay, so now all of a sudden, nobody wants to go against Patrick Mahomes because Mahomes fucking loves it. And so it's a Ponzi scheme because you feel bad if you don't like it. But it's actually a shitty tasting cheeseburger. It actually reminds me of, I don't know if you guys have ever eaten at A&W.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All-American hamburger.
Really?
That's good stuff.
It's like
So, yeah, like Whataburger is like a half step up from A&W burgers.
Wow.
Like, you really never want to eat that shit. I certainly am never going to eat that shit
So would you
again.
say Freddy's even is better than Whataburger?
Oh, yeah.
Freddy's,
Easily.
Five Guys, of
Head and
course, all
shoulders
those.
above all
Okay.
that shit. But, so that's enough of the A&W / Whataburger because it's all the same thing. It doesn't matter. Although everybody likes Patrick Mahomes, right? So for all, you know, just go out and try it. Like if you can't stop yourself,
Well,
try
they're making
it
them
one
in
time.
Overland Park. They already have one in Lee Summit, but they're making them around town. There'll be a few.
Yeah.
Tanner's excited to try it out, I think.
I just want to
like,
try
dude,
it.
stick with
Yeah, we'll try.
Culver's. I mean, if you
Culver's
want
is
fast
better?
food,
Honestly,
oh, yeah,
I'm going to wait like
Sonic is better.
I'm going to wait like
Right?
I don't
a
want to
year.
talk about Sonic right now.
Okay.
But
I'll probably wait like
that's
6
another-
months for
I
it
don't
to
know.
die
Sonic,
down.
that's a different story.
Okay. I
Still
don't
a
know.
piece of shit, but a different story.
Okay.
But as far as what would I stand in line for an hour and a half, I am going to stand in line for 8 hours plus if I can get a Patrick Mahomes autograph, and I'm going to pay for it. Okay.
Wow. All right.
Now the price is a different story, but if I'm guaranteed to get a Patrick Mahomes autograph and he's going to sign it right in front of me, I mean it's 8 to 10 hours plus.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
yeah, I gotta set a time on it and a price on it, but hour and a half, that's a no brainer.
Nice. I like that. I once stood in line for over 3 hours to meet John Cena. So, I mean, it was well worth it. I mean, I got up there and I was like, there was a table sitting
Did you
there.
go like that in front of his face, or
No, there was a table sitting there, and I thought, I was like, all those bodies in front of me, and I get up to the front of the line of, I see a table, and I see a pen and the paper picture sitting there, but there was no one standing there, and so that really confused me because I couldn't see the guy at all, and so like I don't understand like the John Cena thing because like everyone loves him, but I've never once seen him in real person, so you know what I mean? Like it was worth it. I ended up getting an autograph somehow. I mean, there's like this ghost came along and like forged a signature or something.
he forged it? Oh wow!
Yeah, but it happened. I do have his autograph. I once also stood in line for, I guess it was 2 hours for Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That'd be worth it.
That was awesome.
That'd be worth it.
He acted like he was pissed off to be there, which is fine, because
That's perfect.
I mean, he should have just taken a couple of beers and put them together and start chugging.
I do that.
But I'm a big fan of Stone Cold and John Cena, so those two guys will be forever in my heart as an old wrestling fan that I am. So I adore both of them. But otherwise, restaurant-wise, guys, I don't know. I've waited at like Cheesecake Factory before for like an hour, but not on purpose. I think it's because my parents were around. And,
Usually it's a family event.
yeah, exactly. You don't want to
do
leave.
it. Yeah.
You're like you're there already, and it's like you already put in your name for the
And
order.
you already get the family there, and you're
But
like.
the cool thing is about being an adult now, Tanner, that doesn't have a kid, is that you can put in your name on a wait list, and then go to the bar next door,
Oh, that's true.
and start having some drinks next door, and whenever you're ready, you get a text, and then you boom, go back over.
Yeah,
So
that's
yes, I do that now, all the time. So that is no big deal to me whatsoever. Guys, want to play a little game?
What game we playing?
We're going to play a little game of fantasy over, under of the week. All right, guys. Going down the list now. We're going to go quarterbacks first, then move on to running backs, then the wide receivers of the day. So if you watched our show last week at Mr. Brew's Tap House in Overland Park, we appreciate that very, very much. Those of you that came out to join and hang out with us, I love you guys. I appreciate that a lot. So with that said, we did do this game last week, and we did pretty dang good on it, I think. I was happy with our outcome of our projections and predictions, but we have some juicy ones right now for projections. Remember, these are based off of PPR projections based off Yahoo right now. So those of you out there with the following players, listen closely, and here's some of our analysis of what we're thinking going forward for this week. Whether you should start or sit based off over-under is the goal here. First and foremost, Russell Wilson, who's had an injury of his finger, coming back, not done much. His current projection is 23.5 going against the Houston Texans. Over, under, Tanner?
I'm going under. The Seattle offense continues to struggle, even though they're facing Houston, who is the 20th worst defense to play against. If you look at his Week 10, Week 11, Week 12, Week 13 scores, we got 3, 8, 22, and 19. Since Week 10, he did face the 23rd and the 30th defenses, which, of course, were the 3 and 8 and the 22nd. He faced the worst defense against QBs, he faced the best defense. No, I'm sorry, I got this all mixed up here. Basically, it's not good. It's not good for Russell Wilson. His offense is struggling. He continues to struggle with his pinky finger. You can see it in his throws. Last week against the 49ers, they did win, but he only had 19. It's not a good thing here. Not a good thing coming into Houston. Houston, who has been very inconsistent in their defensive play against good teams, aka like New England and such. They can show up or they may not show up. Tyrod Taylor is going to be out, most likely, what I'm hearing, so it's going to be a lot of defensive play. I still say under caution, underneath. I wouldn't say 23 would be it. I'd say closer to probably 17 he'd finish with.
Yeah, so 23.5. I'll go ahead and take the over here. It's a tough choice when you got two shitty-ass teams playing each other. I mean, Russell Wilson against Houston. I mean, Seahawks are shitty. Houston's shitty. Who gives a shit? I mean, but Houston allows 250 passing yards and 1.25 touchdowns in their last 5 games. So for me, I think this is a chance for a get-right game.
That they need
for Russell Wilson. I think he's got to do it. So I'm definitely taking the over for Russell Wilson.
Yeah, his first few bad games coming off injury, he played against Green Bay, Arizona, but then he did a little better, did 22 points against Washington and 19 against San Francisco. I think going against a bottom-of-the-barrel team in the NFL, the Houston Texans, I see him going over the 23.5. I like somewhere around the 26-27 mark for Russell Wilson this week. Next up, we have Kirk Cousins, guys. Do you realize he only has 3 picks in the entire year and 25 touchdowns passing?
Yeah, he's been phenomenal,
That's
actually,
wonderful.
for a TD turnover ratio.
Right. What do you think, Tanner?
For him, guys,
20.5, by the way.
20.5. Oh, I think it's going to go over. Pittsburgh's D is actually legit. It is the 16th, right in the middle of the pack there where you want it. But if you look at his last 4 weeks, 20, 31, 18, 22, he's been pretty consistent. I think he stays above that 20 mark. Adam Thielen will be out. No Dalvin Cook. So you're looking at Osborne, you're looking at Westbrook, you're looking at Justin Jefferson as well, and Madison. I still think he continues to provide a 20-plus game, especially against the Pittsburgh defense that, again, is inconsistent against decent quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'll go with the over here. You know, Kirk Cousins has only been under that number, 20.5, in 3 games the entire season. And right now, you look at the Vikings, they've lost 2 in a row. Steelers are not a good football team. So I think the Steelers, even though they've been winning, they're due for a letdown game here. So I do have the Vikings torching them. I think Kirk Cousins will easily get the over 20.5.
Yeah, he's had double digits all year long, so not a single game under 11 points at least. So with that said, yeah, I totally agree. Pittsburgh has a decent defense, but I think Kirk Cousins is doing his job phenomenally throughout the year. I think he's
Yep.
going to be over 20.5, put him somewhere around the 25-point mark for me. Next up, Tanner, we have Alvin Kamara with 17.5 going against the Jets. He's back from an injury now, so
Yes.
keep that in mind. So they're assuming he's going to get the full workload. I don't know if I agree with that. And going against the Jets team, obviously they're going to want to use him, but also not beat him to the ground. This is going to be an interesting game, guys, because I think he's got potential to have a 30 burger, but he's coming off the injury, so I don't know if I like this. Tanner, go ahead.
Well, yeah, Alvin Kamara, right, going against the Jets, who is the worst in the league against running backs here. Of course, a bunch of zeros the last 4 weeks. Now, remember, Ingram's out this week with COVID. He's under the COVID protocol right now, along with Cam Jordan there for the Saints. So Kamara is going to get the workload he wants. It doesn't matter if it's Simeon or Mike's favorite guy, Taysom Hill, passing him the ball. It's going to be involved in the passing game a ton because they don't really have a lot of guys out there. I like Kamara actually exceeding this by closer to 30 on this one.
Yeah, I think everybody's concerned about Mark Ingram being out, and they think Kamara is just going to blow up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Mark Ingram's out because you have a shitty Jets defense. And let's just assume that they go ahead and limit Alvin Kamara's workload. It doesn't matter. I'm going to take the over because he could easily hit pay dirt 2 times in this game, even if they limit his workload. So I'm going to go with the over here.
Yeah, I like the matchup, and I like the quarterback situation for Alvin Kamara because Taysom Hill's going to want that check down, baby, every once in a while because the guy's either running it or he's going to probably toss it down somewhere short is what I'm thinking. So over 17.5 for Alvin Kamara for me as well. So next up, guys, we have someone who this might not really matter. I mean, we have Darren Waller on the list. Coming in at 12 is his projected point total for this week in PPR. Coming off an injury, I did not practice today, matter of fact. So if he does play against the Chiefs, over under 12 points.
So last, again, KC, who is the 8th worst against tight ends. Week 10, he had 6 points against KC. 6 points. 18 the next week, 5 that week 12, and of course he was injured last week and held out. I look to a similar point total if he is playing. I'd say under, closer to the 6 to 8 range. Thornhill, Matthew, Snead have all been involved with the tight ends lately, and I continue to see that Waller's going to struggle, especially Derek Carr struggling as well.
Yeah, I think if he was going to play, for me, that's an easy over because they're probably going to force feed him in this game. But there's no way in hell I think he's going to actually play in this game because, for me, the Raiders, they already know they're going to get torched by the Chiefs in this game. So why would you throw, basically your franchise player out there to possibly re-aggravate that injury? I do not think he's going to play. So officially give me the under here because I don't think he's going to give it a go.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think that this is a game where it doesn't make sense for him to hit 12, and I think that'll be adjusted throughout the week based on Yahoo's current projections. So for me, with Waller, it's one of those deals where, there's no point in rushing him back because you have your future to think about. You have your, if you want him to be your tight end of the future, no point in rushing him back in a game as the Chiefs where you're probably going to get whooped anyway. So that is my guess on Waller. Next up, Tanner, one of somebody I think you brought up earlier, Antonio Gibson, who's had a great comeback from an injury. J.D. Mckissick is now injured, so he's getting the full workload. J.D. Mckissick only has Dallas Cowboys at 14.39 is the projection. Is he going to be over or under?
Yeah, this is one of the best defenses against the run at 30th. It's not a guy you kind of want to play or a team you want to play against with your running back. But again, McKissick's out. Gibson gets the full workload here. 21 week 10, 6 points on week 11, 23 week 12, 21 on week 13. And that 6 point, I'm pretty sure he went out injured that game. So I wouldn't look too concerned. Look at him continue his 20-point streak plus this game being over against Dallas, who is struggling the last couple of games, as we've seen. But yeah, I'd say it's going to be a tough game for Gibson. But I still think he gets enough workload between the passing and rushing game to be able to make it to that 20-plus points.
Yeah, it's definitely going to help with Mckissick being out. I am going to go with the over here. Washington football team has won 4 games in a row, and I think Dallas, as we all know, they've been playing like shit lately. I think this is going to be a get-right game for Dallas, especially for their offense. showing up. And so I think the football team is going to need to throw the ball a lot. And I think that's where you're going to see the stats start to pile up for Antonio Gibson. So I've definitely got him over 14.39.
And quick note, too, week 6, I believe it was week 6, Gibson went against New Orleans, who is the second best in the league, and he had 21 points then against a good Russian defense in New Orleans. So just a thought for there.
Yeah, I want us to keep in mind that Gibson played mainly wide receiver in college, and so the receiving game is nothing new to him whatsoever. So whether he gets maybe shortened off in the running game not a big deal. He's going to use a little bit in the passing game as well, and as he should be. And so yeah, for me, definitely an over for Gibson against Dallas. Next up, Tanner, we have Mike Evans sitting at 16 points against the Buffalo Bills. Interesting one. I don't know what to say about this one. So to go and take it away. This is your guy.
It's kind of a tough one too to look at. Buffalo Bills, who are the best team against wide receivers at 32nd, a team you don't want your receivers to face. If you look at week 10, week 11, week 12, week 13, we got 14, 20, a 4-point, and a 16 last week. If you look in the past, from the past year here, if he went against Philly, who was 31st, second best, and he had 4 points there. I would say coming from a 4-point game in week 12 to a 16, I'm going to go under. I think he stays under 16 this week. It won't be like a 4-pointer, but I think we're looking at more of maybe 9, 10 points. I think Godwin gets a lot of reps, and I think Scotty Miller also comes into play as well for this one. And then Gronk continues to dominate week in, week out.
For me, Buffalo obviously has a good pass defense, so I'm going to go with the under here. Buffalo is also really pissed off after losing to New England. So I think this is a get-right game for Buffalo. And I think, honestly, Tampa Bay's been winning for a while now. Mm-hmm. This could be a letdown game for them. I think Buffalo could win the game. I think it might be a low-scoring game, and that's not going to be good for Mike Evans. So give me the under.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough one for sure, too. I think it's possible if he does go over, it's going to be just barely. Yeah. But I could also see him going under more towards the 12-point range is what I'm thinking about his total at the end of this game. And, obviously Antonio Brown hasn't been playing throughout the most of the season, so he's not really been in the picture anyway. It's not like you're taking away reps necessarily. But I think I agree with Tanner about Scotty Miller. Scotty Miller will be involved in this game, absolutely, because I think that they're going to be worried about Evans and Chris Godwin. Miller's going to be the guy open in this game against the Bills when big plays do come about, because he's actually been known as a deep threat in the past. Mm-hmm. For Mike Evans on this one, I am looking more along the lines of a 12-point game, so give me the under on that.
And just note, too, Mike Evans, his big role with this team lately has been an end zone target. Rob Gronkowski is back healthy when Evans was dominating the red zone. Rob is back in that place of red zone target.
Yeah, and the Bills are pissed off. I mean, Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde weren't very happy in their press conference this week.
They were dumb questions, too.
Yeah. I mean, they don't want to be embarrassed again. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, they're getting embarrassed.
Put it that
Such a stupid question.
All right, guys. Then we have one of my favorite receivers in the whole league, as a matter of fact. Van Jefferson going against Arizona. 10.85 is the current projection for this week. Is he going to be a starter on your team? If you had a team that started 3 receivers, maybe 4 receivers, would you start Van Jefferson?
Let's break it down real quick, right? Arizona, 21st. So a good defense that they're going against. 8 points week 10, had a bye week 11. Then came back with an 18 and a 16 for week 12, week 13. Yes, I would say this guy is a starter. I would definitely go above this 10, 11-point projection here. I consider him closer to that 16-point, 15-point range. And I would say, especially with another bye week, the last bye week here with four teams on bye, I'd say, yes, he should be a starter in your league right now.
Yeah, when I look at Van Jefferson, we always bring up game flow, and we all know the Rams have been playing like shit lately. I'm not going to give them any credit for beating Jacksonville.
No. Don't do it.
They're going to have to throw a lot in this game, I think, to keep up with Arizona. But I actually think the Rams are going to come out on fire anyway, because they've got to get this win. So however you think that game flow is going to go, Van Jefferson's going to hit the over here, that 10.85.
All right, it's 100 football. Rams are going to be healthy. healthy-ish. Cardinals are going to be, I think, fully healthy. I think Hopkins will get full playing time in this game.
Correct.
Finally, because he's obviously been limited throughout the last few weeks.
Is Edmund? I don't think Edmund's back yet.
Not quite, but they're doing fine without him.
Yeah.
Obviously, for me, Van Jefferson's definitely a start, or I should say over. 4 of the last 6 weeks has been over 10 points. So with that said, I mean, since basically the loss of Robert Woods, Van Jefferson stepped into that role, and also to let you guys know, the addition of Odell has not made any kind of negative impact on Van Jefferson's numbers, especially target-wise. I mean, target-wise, we're looking at the last 6 weeks. We got numbers we're looking at 7, 6, 7, 7, 9, and 8. That is his target. That is wonderful target numbers. So expect more of that. Van Jefferson goes out, puts up, I'm going to say 22 against Arizona.
22 burger, huh?
He is going to have himself
blow
a day.
up.
So that is my projections for the week.
Nice.
Guys, we went over everything today. We talked about the Chiefs, talked about fantasy. We talked about the wrapping up of the NFL playoff projection, basically, and our favorite ways to wait in line. And so, I mean, we pretty much gave you guys everything we had in our systems at this point in time, with 2 weeks left to go to Christmas. So, any final words, you guys?
Yeah, guys, the Border Wars Showdown is this Saturday. Mizzou KU I think it's at Allen, 2:00 Saturday. Be ready for it. Mizzou is a high school team because they are awful this year. Look at KU to win by probably 40, maybe 50, if they get excited.
And Tanner would not wait in line for that.
Oh, I would actually wait in line.
See,
for that.
I knew you were full of shit.
Yeah, and by the way, any of you fools that
For
are
the
going to
Border
go,
War.
any of you fools that are going to go to that game, have fun paying $150 just to get into standing room only. Enjoy that.
Yeah,
Watch the beatdown happen.
Yeah, I'm not doing that one. I'll sleep in. I don't know what I'll be doing, but I'm not doing that. But
You'll be doing this, right?
maybe I'll check it out. Maybe I'll watch the game. I don't know.
I'll
But
be doing this.
is that on Sunday? Is it on Sunday?
No, it's a Saturday.
Oh, it is. I was going to say
Saturday afternoon.
Saturday. In like 3 years, Tanner, they play football again.
I know. I'm excited for that too.
Okay, will be good by then?
Yeah, I think so.
We'll see.
I like our trend.
We'll see how things unfold. So, anyways, you guys, those of you out there listening and following along, we appreciate you so much. So, thank you for hanging out, and click the like button and follow, subscribe. We're on the Twitter. We're on the TikToks, of course. We're about to do ourselves on TikTok here in a minute. But with all that said, I'll see y'all on the next one.
JG and the Buffoons, we're out.
See you guys.